Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Michaela and I'm going to do today Vika bottoms with 3 straps. These bottoms are so gorgeous. I'm so in love. I can't wait to make them. They will come with 3 different coverages plus the cheeky coverage being ruched. So I'm going to explain you. I've got here my my straps cut, like my little bands. Got them here, all of them cut. I cut them already in two. There is upper part, lower part, middle part and lower part, and I've got my front piece and back piece, and I'm going to show you how to do these bottoms reversible. I've cut my piece cheeky, and I will be having them ruched. So actually, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the half of my bottoms. I'm going to mark so I know where my elastic will later go in. So I'm making like little dots. This is a washable pan, so I'm making little dots on it. So later on I can see where my elastic will actually go on. And like I said, this will be reversible, so I would call this main fabric, second fabric. They are both lycra, and I struggle sometimes to find which one is my right side of the fabric. So okay, I've got my my right sides together, and what I'm going to do first, I'm going to pin the crotch area, and I'm going to do it on the both sides, on the main fabric and as well on the second fabric, and I'm going to serge it. If you don't have a serger, I recommend you to do a zigzag stitch. On my second fabric, I would be leaving a small hole open so later I can turn my bottoms on. And for my straps, I'm going to turn them on the right side together, and I'm going to pin the little opening. I will pin them for all of them, and later I'm going to add elastic. So right side facing together for all. I'll be pinning and adding elastic, but first I will go actually on to sewing my crotch area, like I said, and I have here everything prepared. One is done, and now the second, and like I said, I'm going to leave the hole open, a little hole open, so I can turn the bottoms on the right side. Like this. And now I lift again and I do it. Okay, so you see I've left my little bit of a part open, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to place my main fabric on top of my second fabric, and they will be matching the right sides together. And I am going to pin, I'm going to show you, I'm going to pin all around the leg openings, both leg openings and the upper parts. I would leave the sides unstitched. So as you know, as I'm showing it in all my videos, um, after I'm pinning, I always do a basting stitch. This helps me to hold my fabrics together so they're not, if they are slippery, sometimes can be difficult to serge them or zigzag stitch them, and as well adding elastic can be a little bit tricky. So yes, first I'm going to basting stitch, to do a basting stitch, which is basically a straight stitch, which later on I will be making some small cuts into it. I'm going ahead, I'm going to show you just one side as I'm basting stitch, and then the rest I will be doing it off camera. So like I said, on the highest stitch length, just a normal straight stitch. Okay, so now I'm doing these little cuts into it. Perfect. So I will go ahead and I will be basting stitching this side and the leg openings, and I will be showing you how I add the elastic on one side, and the same I will be pinning all my bands, and then I will be showing you how I'm adding elastic on all of them. Okay, so I went ahead and I did my basting stitch everywhere, on the leg openings, on the upper parts, and as well on all of my side bands. And I'm going ahead, I'm going to show you how I will be adding elastic. So I'm going to serge and I will be adding elastic in the same time. My serger has a guider, so that's so much easier for me. Okay, so I'll be doing this for all the parts where I've bast stitch, and as well I will be adding elastic to my little bands the same way. You can also add a 2.5 centimeters elastic to the bands, but since I want it to be reversible, adding a small elastic, it's actually the best way, so the elastic cannot be seen on the seam. So as you see, I'm adding the elastic as well to my band, and I will be doing this to all to all of my little bands. Okay, so I'll be doing this off camera, and once I'm done I will be showing you the next steps. Okay, so I've serged and I've added elastic on my bottoms and as well on all my bands. And actually the next thing to do, I've already went ahead and I did it, but I left one to do together. I'm turning the little bands, the little straps, I'm turning them on the right side of the fabric, and I'm going ahead and I'm going to do a straight stitch to the ends. So when I will be introducing them in the bottoms, it's easier to actually stitch them without my two layers of fabric moving around. So yes, as you see, I just do a little straight stitch on the ends like this. I'm so sorry I didn't press recording on the first part, but luckily I managed to unstitch to show you how to add the side straps, the side bands. And I'm placing them right in order, so big, small, and smaller. And I will be introducing them. I'll be introducing them with the seam down. So the seam has to be down on all three, and it is a little bit tricky, but I recommend that you add a little bit of patience. So I'm going ahead and I'm introducing one by one into my bottoms, and then I stitch it, well, sorry, I pin it like this. The middle I always just give a small pin, and then I go ahead and I'm adding first my lower. Okay, now I've got almost all of them introduced. And I'm going to check whether my distance is okay. Yes. Like this. Okay, so I'm going ahead and I'm going to show you how I stitch. I'm actually doing the first the basting stitch. Like, you know, I always prefer to do the basting stitch before actually serging it, because I have more room to correct any issues. So this little bit I'm going to slide it like that, a little bit better inside. Okay, I realized it tiny bit, it moved, so I'm going to correct it afterwards with my serger. So now I'm going ahead on my serger, and first I'm just going to correct this little bit here, because my strap moved, so just tiny bit, so it's right at the edge. I just trimmed a very tiny part. Okay, and now I will also do the other side, because I only got to pass stitch it. Now I'll get to trim tiny bit, the same like I did before, so my edges are very close. Okay, so here it is, my front piece with the bands already serged in. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn just the front piece on the right side together. So this is my front piece, and I've got here all my. So this is my front piece. I just trimmed a tiny bit of a stitch which got in between over there at the edge. So I've got here my front piece, and now we are going to introduce our straps into our back piece. How I'm going to do this, I'm going to turn my bottoms. As you see, I have here the opening, and everything what is going to happen from this moment, it will be through this little opening in the crotch. So first what I'm going to do, I'm going to pin, starting from down, up, down, middle, up. I'm going to pin it with my safety pin, and then I'm guiding the safety pin through the bottoms like this. So this step is a little bit tricky. Perhaps there are another ways of doing it. This way I got actually really used to do it, so it's actually easier for me. And in this very moment, what I'm actually just doing it, I'm just separating them. So as I started with the bottom one, I'm just pinning like this, and then I go to my middle one and I pin it very superficially actually, and I will explain you in a second why. And this is my, I'm just checking it inside. Yes, it's okay. So this is my upper piece. So I'm pinning them very superficially. Why? Because I still have this side. So I always like, in order that they don't get that I don't get them confused, or I don't get them twisted in between, because obviously sewing this bit will require pulling me a little bit more from the front piece. So I'm actually first introducing all my straps inside of my back piece. So on this part, I'm starting actually with my, sorry, I'm just going to trim this. Okay, so I'm starting with my upper piece, and then I go middle, and then I go lower. So I will remember this. So I'm introducing them inside, and I make sure that I'm not touching the other things which I've already introduced. So I'm really sliding it through the edge like this, and I'm being very careful the same so my needle doesn't get twisted in between. So I'll be holding it like this whilst I'm pulling. All right, and as I said, I have here first the lower, and I'm going to pin it again really superficially, the middle the same, really superficially, and this is the upper. And now I'm going ahead and I'm going to be pinning it properly. So I start on this side since it's already easier. So this is my upper, then I go to my middle. So like I said, if perhaps you've seen another technique or another way of doing it which you think it's easier, you don't have to follow necessarily my steps, but for me this has been the easiest. I've used it a lot of times, and I'm so used to it that I never get my bands twisting inside or anything. So now I went ahead and I practically pushed all my bottoms into it, so it's going to be quite easy afterwards to stitch over. Okay, going to pin, and now I'm going to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to do it off camera, And this is actually, yes, a good way to tell that you're going like really straight, because you will feel the straps like coming very straight like that. Okay, so I'll be pinning off camera and doing the basting stitch and the serging off camera, and then I'm going to turn it on the right side through this little hole, and I'm going to close it using an invisible stitch. So I always use hand invisible stitch in case you don't have you don't know how to do it. I would actually recommend you just to Google it, to search it on YouTube. You will find it very quickly. Invisible hand stitch. It's very easy to apply, or you can simply just do a straight stitch over the 2 layers of fabric. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Oh, well, sorry, no, the last step will be ruching my elastic. Yes, so I'll come back in a minute. So I went ahead and I've serged my back piece as well, and I'm going to turn the bottoms on the right side of the fabric. And I almost forgot that I wanted to do the ruching. So here are my straps and my bottoms. They look so beautiful. Before I'm actually going to close this hole, I'm going to get my elastic. Just give me a second. Okay, so I've got here my elastic, and I'm actually going to use my pins as well. I'm gonna turn the bottoms so you can still see the little dots I made initially into my back piece for the ruching, since I've cut the version of the ruched bit. And the same probably you'll find this technique a little bit difficult. What I'm doing first, so that my fabric does not move, this helps me a lot actually, that my 2 layers of fabric don't move a lot. I'm actually pinning like this the sides. And now I'm going ahead, I am going to introduce the elastic, and I'm going ahead and I'm going to feel it when I'm getting to the end. Like I said, perhaps there is a better method. I'm using this method already for some time, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. But yes, if you know another method, I highly recommend you to use it. It's, for me, this is a good method when I'm doing reversible pieces, since I'm not going to show my elastic in between. So once you've gotten your elastic, you can actually go ahead and try to pin it a little bit. I actually never pin it, I just simply feel it. And I'm going to my sew machine. So like I said, I'm not really feeling it, so it's about here right now. And I just lowered my presser foot, and I'm actually first doing a few stitches, so I'm catching it, I call it. Here, very good. And next I'm going to pull the fabric, pull the elastic. I'm pulling actually as much as I like. I don't have really a straight measurement, and I'm feeling it like this with my fingers. My stitch is on 4, is on max, and I go ahead and I start pulling and stitching. And these little dots actually really help me to know where is my line. So yeah, I'm stitching until here, and I do a few back and forth stitches. And here is my ruching. It's so beautiful. And I go ahead and I trim the elastic from underneath, and I will go and unpin everything. So I never really start the ruching from very high, because I don't want it that it's bunching like really straight down. I prefer to start it tiny bit lower. And as you can see, I didn't like extremely ruched it. I wanted that it's uniform. And of course my little dots helped me to go in a straight line. So now I will be going ahead and I will be closing this little stitch, doing a hand stitch, or if you wish you can fold it in like that in two and just do a straight stitch. I prefer the invisible hand stitch since it's really hiding my my stitch. So now, if you have any questions or any doubts, please write me. I'm always very happy to help you and guide you with anything. And I'm sorry if I made any grammatical mistakes. English is obviously not my native language. But yes, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy sewing.